As a wide-eyed freshman in 2010, Kylee Baker took Ball State volleyball by storm. She amassed nearly 550 kills her first 2 seasons, won a MAC regular season title, and made a trip to the NCAA tournament.
She's a very vocal girl, and she has that intensity when she plays that when she's on top of her game, you know that everyone's going to be out there doing their thing too, and she just gets everyone together, and it's fun to watch.
Then her sophomore spring, Baker made a trip here. A routine day in the weight room. That turned out not to be so routine after all.
As soon as I went to go take my first rep of a deadlift, I just felt something in my back, and I was just kind of in awe, and I couldn't move. I couldn't even get up from that hunched over position.
The diagnosis, a bulging disc. Baker sat out the rest of spring and summer, returning in the fall for her junior season.
A couple weeks into preseason, I just started to feel it, and my vertical jump it was bad. It was declining fast, and every morning was a struggle to wake up.
It's really not an easy thing to do when you're watching such a great kid have to battle through what she's had to go through the last couple of years.
Which would be a junior year cut short. At a self-professed 60 to 70%, Baker battled through the year's first 14 matches, but hitting just 130.
In a sense, you feel like you're letting your team down, and I knew I was because I couldn't jump high enough. I wasn't even giving anything on the table at that point.
But on September 20th, with Toledo in town, Baker did register one of her better performances. 8 kills, a pair of aces, and 13 digs, playing through pain and practicing through more pain the day after, not yet knowing she'd played her last match of the season.
Kind of sat on the couch just to watch TV and kind of relax, and I couldn't get back up.
And I was everything, she just couldn't move.
She just looked at me, she goes, "How are you going to play tomorrow? She's like, are you okay?" And I was like, "I don't know."
And then we start laughing, but then I was like, okay, well, we probably really need to get some help.
I don't think I've ever had an athlete go from where Kylee was at the beginning of that day to where she ended up.
It was like a stabbing pain, and it ran straight from the bottom of my spine all the way down my left leg, and it was really scary.
She was coming in to see me early the next morning and came in basically dragging her foot behind her.
You'd see me just hobbling around campus. And the joke between me and the training staff in the athletic training room was that I was like Quasimodo out there.
The diagnosis this time, not just a bulging disc, but a ruptured one.
In between each of your spinal segments, you have a disc that's built kind of like a jelly donut. So you have the outside of the disc and then the jelly filling inside. Her jelly filling had come out of her back and put pressure on her spinal cord, which was basically making her have symptoms all the way down her legs.
And it required surgery.
I saw Dr. Ritter down in Indy, who studied under Dr. Foyer, who worked on Peyton Manning. So that was a plus. I was in great hands.
The surgery sidelined Baker for the year and made even the most mundane of chores, well, chores.
Couldn't do a lot, actually. It was try to get in the car, put the seat back, close the door, try to pull her out of the car.
When it was at its worst, every day I woke up and I was like, am I ever going to feel normal? What does normal feel like? Because at that point, you want to stay positive, and you want to push through, and you want to be that athlete that's like, all right, yeah, I'm hurting, but I can push through.
But pushing through came with a clock. Yes, Baker was getting healthy, but she was also playing volleyball on borrowed time.
There's a certain amount of jumps that I have left after that, and so this is this season, and Steve and we all have to be careful of how much I jump in practice or how much I jump in matches or stuff like that.
There isn't a golden rule. It would make my job a lot easier if I could say, you have 1,000 left, or you have so many left. But there isn't that sweet spot. Kylie's kind of one of those athletes where we just kind of have to see how she's doing that day. There is a limit to how much your body can take, and for the good of our athletes, we don't want to push it past that. Sometimes it happens, and sometimes you can't really see that line coming. But for her, I want to get her through her senior year. I want to see Kylee play.
Unfortunately for Baker, that time came just weeks before her final Mid-American Conference tournament. But the senior can still finish out her college career, limited to a back row only role as the Cardinals fight for another banner and a trip to the NCAA tournament, leaving it all out on the line with absolutely no regrets.
You know, I continue to tell, the coaches and Sindra, I'd rather give everything I have on the floor, for my last year than to kind of just let it watch it go by. I'd rather give that last play, and if I have my last jump, then I have my last jump. But at least I can say that I went out there and I did it trying.
Joel Godet for BallStateSports.com.